Brian, I think you better go check that barbecue.
Oh, hey, careful. Those things are dangerous.
Trust me, I think I've been through closer calls.
Yeah, me too. Dad, you should tell him about the news van thing.
What's that?
Well, Brian was almost hit by that news van that day in the field. And your friend Rory, he pulled him back at the last second. Saved his life.
You never told me that, Peter. Boy, that was lucky.
Wonder of You is considered to be the most powerful stand in the series, next to Gold Experience Requiem. Much like Requiem, Wonder of You has the potential to defeat pretty much every stand in the entire series, however not in the same way. Wonder of You's core ability is to use calamities and accidents to defeat his opponents. Alongside his calamities, Wonder of You also has the ability to create illusions of himself. He can also choose individual people to see these illusions. For example, when only Mitsuba was able to see his silhouette up against the cabinet. Wonder of You also appears to be omnipresent, as his attacks on Mitsuba happened at the same time as his presentation in TG Hospital. Wonder of You also has the ability to assume other people's identities, although he only really does this for Satoru Akefu, the head doctor. All these abilities come together to help boost his calamity ability. When someone chooses to pursue Wonder of You, Satoru Akefu, or Toru, they will be hunted and attacked by Wonder of You and his calamities. These calamities vary from little objects like cigarettes and rain to big objects like beds and cars. These calamities are seemingly related to karmic retribution, meaning certain calamities may be more or less damaging depending on the person. Either way, they will deal enough damage to be lethal or near lethal. Additionally, Wonder of You also has the ability to persist after its user's death, making it significantly harder to beat. Toru is an incredibly intelligent, manipulative, ambitious rock human. He has invented his own medicine and come up with wireless charging years before big companies decided to design it. He also fully understands his opponent's abilities and what they're capable of. This means he plays around them very, very carefully. Toru is also very ambitious, meaning that he will stop at nothing to obtain what he wants to obtain. For example, the new Lokakaka fruit. This makes him very cautious, but also makes him very prone to be provoked. Much like every stand in the series, Wonder of You obviously has its key weaknesses. One big weakness he has is the fact that his calamities only affect people who pursue him, not people who he pursues. For example, when Josuke provoked Wonder of You to come after him instead of chasing after Wonder of You himself, which ultimately led to Soft and Wet Gobion's existence. Wonder of You is also weak to attacks that can go through his calamities, such as Gobiond. The calamities may stop the activation of an ability, but once the ability is thrown out, there's nothing really he can do against it. An opponent can also approach Wonder of You without the intention of pursuit, although this would take a lot of mental ability. Although you would not be safe from any calamities that would happen once you get close. For example, when Kato Higashikata approaches Toru and forces Tsurugi to do an equivalent exchange with him, and ultimately suffering the consequences of the calamities. Before I bring up the stands that could defeat Wonder of You, I'd like to first give a couple of honourable mentions. My first obvious pick would be Osiris and Atum. They could obviously take the Lokakaka fruit hostage, forcing Toru into a game of poker or video games. However, this might count as a pursuit, and they might get obliterated in the process. Next on my list is Heaven's Door. Heaven's Door needs to come in contact with the opponent in order to use his ability. However, in the earlier versions of Heaven's Door, all it took was looking at his drawing, and assuming he still has that ability, he could activate his book on Toru. However, this might not save him from the calamities that would follow afterwards. This one's very controversial, but I also think Crazy Diamond stands a good chance. Being able to restore calamities so that they don't attack you is a very good ability, and I believe that he could potentially catch up to Toru. However, killing him would be pretty much impossible. Another weird choice would be Superfly. Obviously, trapping Toru would be a very handy thing to do. However, Wonder of You has a very, very large range, so stopping Wonder of You from catching you would be impossible. Green Grass of Home would make the green baby immune to pretty much every calamity that Toru could throw at him. However, the user is a baby and would never actually be able to catch up to Toru in the first place. Lastly, I'm going to put Tusk Act 4 on this list. I believe the infinite rotation is the 1-to-1 counter to Wonder Review. However, the activation would take long enough for Toru to be able to knock Johnny Joestar off his horse with a Calamity of some sort. I believe that the next list of stands have the potential to fight Toru head to head and potentially win. My first on this list is obviously Softomac Go Beyond. He doesn't have the best potential to beat Toru despite having his number 1 counter, only because of the fact that he cannot aim Go Beyond. He's guaranteed to hit Wonder Review if Wonder Review is closer to him, but this requires a motivation to chase after him, which is what he had in Drudolian. Next on my list is Killer Queen Bites the Dust. Kira could simply put Bites the Dust on a hostage and make them think that Toru is there to help them. This would obviously activate Killer Queen Bites the Dust, and eventually it would wipe Toru off the face of the earth. The victim wouldn't need to worry about calamities hitting them as well, because of the fact that Killer Queen protects the user from any attack basically. Bites the Dust also doesn't need to come in contact with someone to kill them, as it's an ability that uses information instead of attacks. Next on my list is Cream. Cream is very interesting because he wouldn't be able to know where Toru is all the time, and would be vulnerable every single time he peeks out of the void to check. However, once Vanilla Ice chooses to do the spinny attack he did to Polnareff, Toru doesn't really have any opportunity to escape. Assuming we give Vanilla Ice his vampirism, he could potentially take a couple hits from Calamities whilst peeking in order to catch the post-mortem version of Wonder Review. And lastly, my MVPs are both one in the same stand, Star Platinum and The World. Wonder Review's Calamities work by hitting you with objects. Time Stop is the absence of movement, and therefore nothing can attack them during Time Stop. There's still the debate of what would happen before and after Time Stop is used, but there's nothing to really stop Star Platinum in The World from killing Toru before any of that happens. The post-mortem stand would also suffer the same fate because they can just stop time and catch him before he slips away and hides somewhere. And that is why definitively Star Platinum in The World could beat Wonder Review and Toru like 95% of the time.